Hey guys, welcome to the kitchen. I'm Danielle and this is my pampered kitchen. I am today going to bring to you a mac and cheese recipe that you can do that has a lot more nutrients than the average mac and cheese, which our kids love, is that Kraft macaroni and cheese, which is great. We all have it in our kitchens. We've all eaten it as kids. But this way, on a cold day, cold windy day like it is today, in January, where everybody is trying to eat healthy in January, everybody's all over all the bad food they consumed over the holidays. We're trying to turn it all around. This is one meal that can help you do that and still kind of satisfy everybody. So it's mac and cheese, but we're going to make it with butternut squash. So sounds awesome. Will your kids be able to tell? Probably, yes. It's not going to taste like Kraft, but it's also going to be a creamy mac and cheese that's going to have a different taste. So maybe not sell it to them as mac and cheese, sell it to them as a new pasta recipe of some sort, cheesy something. We'll come up with something by the time of the end of this, but you want to get, I'm sure they'll like this, but if they think it's going to be mac and cheese, they're going to automatically turn their nose up because it's not going to taste exactly the same at all. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you what I've got here, and then we're going to put it all together one by one, okay? Once again, I'm using all of my tools here that I have in my kitchen. Any of these tools can get put into your kitchen. You just need to contact me. We can get them in there. A lot of times we can get them into your kitchen for free, which is really, really cool. I know a lot of you are really enjoying this Spiralizer, which we did use today, and I'll show you that again. So let's go forward from there. So what I've got here, I've got all my ingredients laid out. I have 1 cup of half and half, 2 cups of milk. Those are my scraps from the squash. Nutmeg, we're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of that. I have 1.5 cups of Gruyere cheese and 1.5 cups of white cheddar already shredded. I have a 1/4 cup of panko bread or breadcrumbs you could use as a substitute. 1/4 cup of, I have unsalted butter, but salted butter could be just as good as a substitute. I have a 1/4 cup of flour. And I have about almost 8 cups of butternut squash. This is 1 butternut squash that I cut up. First I skinned, I cut up, and then I spiralized in our awesome Spiralizer. So this is the item that I've been showing you guys all week. It's fantastic. You can see my butternut squash stuff left in there. It comes apart. It cuts things in 3 different ways. You've got a fettuccine blade, you have a spaghetti blade, and then you've got a ribbon blade, which is a nice thick ribbon, which is really, really nice for things like salads when you want to do cucumbers and stuff in a salad. So this was the tool that took our butternut squash from a squash down to this. Now you can see these have been cooked. I'll show you that in a second, but they're super, super thin. So we're going to take this recipe and we're going to bake it. So these are going to get mushy and soft, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to work out really, really well. So what I've already done is I'm using my rock crock once again. This is my piece de resistance tool in my kitchen, my one pot wonder, my go-to tool anytime, anyhow. I like it because it's a one pot wonder. I only end up cleaning up 1 pot afterwards. Leftovers can be stored in this 1 pot. It's all made in 1 pot. It's quite easy to do. Everything else on my countertop goes right into my dishwasher. It's a pretty easy cleanup. So what I did initially is I poured 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my rock crock, and I sauteed the squash here for about 10 minutes. I just wanted to soften it up a little bit. Squash is a very, very tough, hard vegetable, and so if we can give it a bit of a head start on softening, that's all we did, was we just gave it a head start on getting it soft. So I'm going to turn my stove back on to a medium-high heat, and I'm going to get my butter going, right? That's what I want to use. We're going to start to make the sauce. That's where we're going to end up. While this is heating up, I'm going to also turn my oven on to 350 degrees, because what's going to happen is once we put everything into the pot, we're going to throw it into our oven for about 25 minutes. So this is another one of those recipes where you're going to set it all together, and then you're going to be able to walk away, either set your table, get something else done, do whatever it is you wanted to do in the kitchen, or elsewhere, and then come back and have this ready to go for you. It's actually really, really nice. So we're just going to let our butter melt here. It's getting going. Can you see yeah, you can see pretty good there. Sorry we're so late today. Our kids are still off of school here, and so it just kind of screws up everything. Everybody's off schedule. Nobody's on a normal pace. We generally try to get this done by 3 o'clock, and I think it's about 3:30 now, so it's coming. So this butter is almost completely melted now. Once this rock crock really starts heating up, it will go like gangbusters. So what's really nice about this piece is this is stoneware. It's of the stoneware family, which I absolutely love and cherish. I do everything on stone. So this is fantastic because it has a ceramic black coated glaze on it. It can go on your stovetop and receive direct heat, which your other stoneware can't do. So this is a really cool contraption for that. So it's really nice to start things off on the stovetop as we're doing now, and then we're going to finish them in the oven. So we're going to go from one to the other, and very few vessels, cooking vessels, will allow you to do that. A lot of pots and pans nowadays are coming up to that point, which is really handy. This one can also go on your barbecue, it can go in your microwave, and it can also go into your dishwasher, which is super, super cool. It never quite ever fits into mine, unfortunately, which I would love to be able to do. But because we are such a large family, our dishwasher is consumed constantly. There's never enough room for a rock crock to go in there. So all I've got here is I've got the flour in sitting with the butter. And this is what I'm using as my whisk. Because this is a ceramic coating, I can't use a metal whisk. I don't want to damage the coating. So I am using our mashed potato mix and masher. I don't think this is centered properly on my burner. So that's all I'm using here to get that going. So what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to quickly, slowly add my milk and my half and half. Now we're going to do this slowly because we don't want bumps or lumps. So we're just going to kind of whisk it in. This is going to make our sauce. This is the base of our sauce. And as we're stirring this around, I can see actually some butternut squash remnants from when I sauteed. If you don't have a rock crock at home and you want to repeat this recipe, you can do this with your stovetop panware too. You can actually use 2 separate pans, one for the butternut squash, and do both of these at the same time. Get the squash going on one burner with just a little bit of olive oil, while you're paying attention to this one on the other side. You just got to keep stirring up the squash every couple of minutes so it doesn't actually burn. But this can be done just as easily on 2 sets of burners, and then one of those devices should be oven safe, which a lot of cookware is nowadays. And then you're just going to put everything into that larger oven safe dish and throw that into your oven. So what's happening here is that we're just heating up the milk in the flour. What's going to happen as this comes to a boil, it's going to thicken up and it's going to be our sauce. And then basically we're going to add the rest of our ingredients in here as we go and throw it in the oven. It's going to get really, really simple. Like I said, all these recipes are super simple. There's nothing complicated. We work on keeping things simple and healthy. It's easy to do. That's the key. Healthy doesn't mean you have to slave over your cooking every single day. It just means you have to know what's going in your food. If you're putting it in there, you know what's in there. So I don't have any additives and preservatives in my food today because we're putting it all in and it's all fresh food. So that's the key to the healthy side of it, right? As opposed to pulling something out of a cardboard box that you're not really sure what's in there. I mean, they've got a lot of things written on the ingredients list, but how many of us really know what those ingredients really are? I mean, that's the kicker there. So the more things you can make simply from your house, simply from you've heard it, shopping the perimeter of your grocery store, you just put a bunch of those ingredients together, and that's the key. That's the key to doing all of this. And it's quick and it's simple. It takes a little bit of preparation. That's the thing that scares everybody, is the preparation. But it's worth it. You'll be so happy you did it. So I'm just going to add some salt here. I'm going to give it a healthy dose of salt. Again, salt and pepper is to your liking. And then we just need this to boil. While we're waiting for that, I can show you our spiralizer here a little bit. So what we did was I ended up using what I have is a vegetable peeler here, and that's what I used to peel the skin off of the butternut squash before I cut it up. It's a nifty idea. I don't know where I saw it from. I didn't come up with it, but I definitely will share it because it's the easiest way to get the skin off your butternut squash is to use a peeler. You need a fairly heavy duty one. A vegetable peeler is, I'm not sure that would work. I think it's a little too fine, but this one has the actual grits right in it. And it's not a julienne peeler, but it's just a heavy duty vegetable peeler. And so I cut the squash into 3 pieces, and then we took our other handy dandy little tool. Look at this little neat thing, figure 8. It's called a scoop and loop. Interesting little name. We use this and we dug out all the seeds. So I sliced the top and the bottom off the butternut squash, and so the bottom I could have the seeds exposed with a small hole, small enough to get this end of the scoop loop in there, and I just scooped out all the seeds. Many of these recipes you'll see with the Spiralizer and a butternut squash, they'll tell you to save the bottom part where the seeds are and use it for something else. This way you don't have to do that. You actually can put that seeded area inside our Spiralizer because we can scoop out the seeds ahead of time. Just a little tidbit for you. So then I put each of these, I cut it into 3 pieces, and I put each of the 3 pieces through the Spiralizer. We got our awesome butternut squash I'm showing here. What happens is we end up with a small little piece of the butternut squash that just doesn't quite make it through the cut. So we've got these little pieces here. I've got 3 sets of these little pieces, and all we're going to do is we're going to make it work. We're going to put them into our macaroni, but we're going to use it as a decorative piece on top. So we're going to have some fun with it. Okay, that's kind of the plan. We don't want to waste anything. We want to use everything we've got. It's just as good, and through the baking process, it's going to soften up as well. So it's going to fit right into the mac and cheese the same way the rest of it would. So this is getting nice and hot. I'm actually going to turn it up a little bit. We're going to try to save some time here. Get this going. We've got our squash. I also have about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, which we're going to shred to get ready. So I have my little hard cheese shredder here. We need about a 1/4 cup, which is about 2 ounces of Parmesan cheese. So we're just going to quickly throw that through the shredder. So that's ready. Woo! And then when that happens, that doesn't work out very well. Hard cheese will sometimes do that. Uh-oh, I can hear it burning on the thing. Might have to get some more shredded cheese. So we've got our shredded cheese. We're just going to whip that up really quick. Once this thing fills, it's actually a full cup. So we don't want it to fill right up to the top. We only want a 1/4 of a cup today. And so we're going to fill that right into our thing. And actually that works out pretty good. It's about a 1/4 of a cup right there. Huh, we must have had a little bit of extra. Okay, so now we have a few things with some Parmesan cheese on it, but nobody ever said extra Parmesan cheese is never bad. So now this is really starting to sizzle here, and we're going to throw our cheese in. So I have my, not all of it actually, sorry, that's what I wanted to catch. We're going to throw in 1 cup, leave a 1/2 cup. Throw in 1 cup, leave a 1/2 cup. We're going to throw our nutmeg in here as well. This is all going to start to move fast at this point. You can see it thickening up, right? You can see how it's getting a lot thicker. The cheese helps too, but also the heat. Our 1/4 cup of nutmeg. When you can't open things, it's never good. Our 1/4 teaspoon, I'm so sorry, not a 1/4 cup. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of nutmeg. Okay, that goes in there. We're done with that. We got our Parmesan there. This is done. This is done. Again, when you have somewhat of an organized work area, this all works well because you know what you've used and what you've not used. We're going to throw our pepper in, and then we're going to stir this up. And this, we're pretty much done here. This is our cheese sauce. Now, we used white cheddar. That's why our sauce is still white. But we also have this much butternut squash, which is going to add the orange to our texture. So now I'm going to pour in the butternut squash. Like so. I'm going to go back to my tongs. Sometimes I have found with spiralizing these vegetables, The tongs often work much easier to move stuff around. We're just going to stir this up, get everything nice and soaked. Turn that down. Actually, we're going to turn this right off because we don't need it to cook anymore. You've heard my oven beep, so it's all set to go. Now we're going to make it look good. So we've got everything kind of mixed up with the cheese sauce. All that's left to do is to make it look pretty. The last little bits of cheese, we're going to sprinkle on top. I'm going to put one cheese down, then I'm going to put my breadcrumbs down, give it a nice crunch on top. This is about a half a cup of panko. If you have breadcrumbs, that works too. The rest of my Gruyere cheese. And my Parmesan cheese. It's the cheesiest. Remember those commercials? Yeah. So now all I'm going to do is I have these little leftover guys, and I'm just going to plant them in here like this. Just decorative little pieces. See how it comes out. I'm not sure. It may not work. It may work. It's worth the try. But at least we're using all of our squash and not wasting any of it. And that's it. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to throw it in my oven for 25 minutes, pull it out, and serve it up. Uh-oh, I'm throwing stuff around now. I'll give you a quick look at that. That's what we've got. Hopefully the glare isn't too bad. And that's what the cheese and the breadcrumbs will brown while they're in the oven. And off to the races we go. So that's our mac and cheese made with butternut squash. I hope that works well in your kitchen. The Spiralizer has been a godsend in our kitchen. It's even fun for the kids to use, so it's a nice add-on. The Rock Crock is also a really good one. Any of those products, if you need any information on, feel free to contact me. I'd love to help you out. And enjoy your mac and cheese. I will post pictures of it once it's completed in the comment section, so please have a look for those, and we'll go from there. All right, have a great day.